Doing our first week in the series called Mighty Warrior, and today the title is Risk Taker. Being a risk taker as a mighty warrior. And I have this sitting on my refrigerator. Where is the little sticker? I guess I done misplaced it. It was here somewhere. And it says risk taker. There it is right here. Right here, this little magnet, risk taker, and it was, I think, Joyce Meyer's. It says, be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or discouraged, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Joshua 1:9. And Joshua was just a teenager when he was told this. So last week we started out with Gideon. Y'all remember I was reading about Gideon and Gideon being told by God, the angel of the Lord, that he was a mighty warrior and the Lord was with him. Y'all remember that?
Amen.
Amen?
Yep.
Okay. Yep. And so just to recap from last week, I'm going to read from my footnotes because it's a great little recap. And we were in Judges chapter number 6, and it says, just to recap, once God's people reverted to a syncretic, I don't even know how to pronounce that word, religion that conformed to the ways of the Canaanites. As a result, for 7 years, God permitted the Mennonites, assisted by the Amalekites and tribes from the east, to invade and oppress Israel. They were forced to hide in caves and conceal their produce. They called on God only when the situation became unbearable. And so sometimes we like that. When we're being oppressed by the enemy of our soul, we call on God when it's unbearable. Other than that, we don't have nothing to say to God. And that's what the Israelites were doing. Israel turned to God as a last resort. And only because of their oppression. The fundamental problem with the Israelites was that their faith in God was founded not on love, for the gratitude to the Lord, but on self-centered desires and ambitions. And so we got to be careful that we are not, like, that our faith in God is not founded on self-centered desires and ambition, but on love and gratitude to the Lord. They sought God only in times of crisis, when they felt they needed him. And sometimes we'll do it only when we're in a crisis. God, help me, Lord. Lord, I need you, please. But it needs to be a continuous time of seeking the Lord in your life. New Testament believers also need to examine their type of faith. That's us New Testament believers. As believers, do we follow the Lord because we truly love and appreciate him for who he is and what he's done? And I say, what about just for who he is? Not even for what he does. Or do we serve him primarily for what we can receive from him? If our faith and our devotion to God are genuine, we will follow the Lord even if it means trouble, suffering, persecution, and loss. Trouble, suffering, persecution, and loss. Trouble, persecution, suffering, and loss. Will you still serve? Will you still say, God, I still want to devote my life to you? When you're in that place? And so Gideon was with the Israelites, his people. He was hiding in caves because the Mennonites would come and just destroy everything. They would just wipe them out. And so they were scared of him, so they would be hiding. And Gideon was hiding in the cave, and the Lord came and gave him his identity. He said, mighty warrior, the Lord is with you. And the Lord is saying that to all of us. Mighty warrior, the Lord is with us. The Lord said he never leave us, forsaken us. Y'all remember that in Matthew?
Amen.
He said he never leave us or forsaken us. He's always with us. But they were being oppressed. They were in a crisis. And God came to their rescue. And so we had talked about how Gideon was identified as a mighty warrior. And then God had him go and tear down the altar and these poles that worship a false god. Right? Y'all remember that?
Amen.
And then he was scared. He did it at night. He took some men with him and did it at night. And he demolished him. And then the people found out he did it, and they wanted to kill him.
Amen.
And then his daddy said, "Well, you know what? Since those was Baal poles and altar, let Baal deal with him. Leave my son alone." Basically, leave my son alone. So, and then they called Gideon. They called him, well, it's somewhere in here, Jerubbaal. But anyway, at the end of chapter 6, it talked about Gideon fleecing God. Y'all remember that? How he wanted God to okay, God, if this is really you, I got a fleece here, which is like a blanket. Make the fleece wet and the ground dry. Right? And he did. God did it. Then he said, okay, God, one more thing, if you got favor with me, now reverse it. Make the ground wet and the fleece dry. And God did that. But God used that to strengthen his faith.
Mm-hmm. Like if you ask us out there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We fleece God sometimes. Well, God, if this is you, then blah, blah, blah. And God will do that. And they're like, well, I was saying to God this morning, blah, blah, blah. And then this,
Show me.
because our faith we get sometimes doubtful and weaken our faith, or we don't believe that it's really God. So we be like, God, well, if that's you, give me a sign. Mm-hmm. And you have somebody walk up to you and say just what you need him to say. Is that, maybe I'm the only one that's ever happened to. But we fleece God too. But sometimes we are like Gideon, where we need our faith strengthened. So then we go into chapter 7. Everybody pull your Bible out. Everybody can pull their Bible out to Judges chapter 7. Judges chapter 7. Bring it up on your phone, whatever you got. But let's go to Judges chapter 7.
First one.
Judges
We're going to start with verse
7.
1. I'm going to read 1 through 8. Judges, and just follow me along because we have different versions. I'm reading from the NIV. So Judges chapter 7. My title says, Gideon defeats the Mennonites. Gideon defeats the Mennonites. Oh, little James, you like this. But Gideon defeats the Mennonites. Y'all ready? Everybody got chapter 7? Mm-hmm. It says, early in the morning, Jerubbaal, that is Gideon, and all his men camped at the spring of Harod. The camp of Midian was north of them in the valley near the hill of Moreh. The Lord said to Gideon, you have too many men for me to deliver Midian into your hands. In order that Israel may not boast against me, that her own strength has saved her, announce now to the people, anyone with fear may turn back and leave Mount Gilead. So 22,000 men left, while 10,000 remained. So he had started out with how many? 32,000 men. Okay? So 22. Can y'all imagine 22 men leaving? You say, okay, who's scared? Who's scared? A robber come up in here right now and say, give me all your money. No, what if you say, if you scared, I'm trying to come up with a scenario. A robber came in here.
Yep.
And he said, if you gonna confess Christ, I'm gonna shoot you. If you say Christ is not Lord, you get to live. How many of us
was gonna sit there?
Yeah. If you are not gonna confess Christ and say Christ is not Lord, you can leave. How many of us would leave? Seriously, think about that, because we know people have been martyred, even here in the United States. Think about that. Right? And so he said to them, okay, there were 32,000, and they say 22,000 left. Okay, we're on verse number 4. But the Lord said to Gideon, there are still too many men. Take them down to the water and I will sift them for you there. If I say, this one will go with you, he shall go. But if I say, this one shall not go with you, he shall not go. So Gideon took the men down to the water. There the Lord told him, separate those who lap the water with their tongues like a dog from those who kneel down to drink. 300 men lapped with their hands to their mouth. All the rest got down on their knees to drink. So out of that 10,000, only 300 did like this. Everybody else was like a dog. They were like a dog. You know, they weren't paying attention to, to whatever was going on. They just got down like a dog and started lapping the water. So we had 10,000. So that, and 300 was, so how much, what is that? 78?
9,700.
I don't know how to count no more. 9,700. I'm telling y'all, 9,700 without the calculator. 9,700 got down like a dog and lapped the water. And the Lord said to Gideon, with the 300 men that lapped, I will save you and give the Mennonites into your hands. Let all the other men go each to his own place. So Gideon sent the rest of the Israelites to their tents, but kept the 300 who took over the provisions and trumpets of the others. Now the camp of Midian lay below him in the valley. So God wanted again to show Gideon that with his help, he can still defeat the Mennonites, and that he was a mighty warrior. And God reduced the number from 32,000 to 300 because he said he didn't want them boasting, saying that, well, because we had 3,200, we defeated the Mennonites. We defeated the Mennonites. So, many times in our lives, God is like that. One of my stories is I had a minivan, and it was me and my 3 kids, a single mom. One of the windows wouldn't go down. This had happened, that had happened. The engine had went. Somebody had blessed me to put a new engine in the van, blah, blah, blah. So the Lord said, go to this car dealer and, go to car dealerships and start, looking for a car. So one night, me and my oldest son, he was 9 at the time, we got in the car at night, and we were just driving around to car dealerships, and we went to one, and there was this little green Ford Escort. And the Lord said, get out. And I'm not a name and claim it, but I know when the Lord is speaking something to me. And even in that, he said, get out, put your hand on the car. Now, I had never done anything like that before. And so I put my hand on the car, prayed for the car, and the Lord said, don't share with anybody. Only you and your son is to know this. So I went to the credit union, tried to get a loan. They said, well, no, this has happened, that has happened. Why was this happening in your life? You weren't paying this, weren't paying that. Well, this is what was going on in my life, blah, blah, blah. And so 2 weeks later, I drove the car off the lot. The car had 12 miles on it. It was brand new. It had never been bought. And you know how they bring the new cars out in the fall? Mm-hmm. Okay? Yeah. They like the 2020s are out now. Okay? They put them on the lot. So that car had been brought on the lot the previous fall, because this was the next year. Mm-hmm. So it had been sitting on the lot from the fall time all the way into the next year when I bought it.
Amen. So they had to get rid of it.
No, it was God. God picked that car. Y'all know what? I wanted a green car, and I didn't even know I wanted a green car. I started to say I want a green car. And I ended up with a little green Ford Escort, brand new, had 12 miles on it. The Lord worked it out so that I drove that car off the lot. I was still in a very bad place in my life with our finances, with our living conditions. But you know what? What I'm saying to you, when God didn't want anybody else to take credit for me getting that car. Because when you sing on people, they give you advice. And they would have said, well, I told her to do blah, blah, blah. I told her to do, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's why he told me not to share with anybody. Me and my son were my daughter didn't know. Mm-hmm. The other child didn't know. It was between me and God and my son. And he said, don't tell anybody. And as a single woman, I go to work. If I say, hey, so-and-so, men would say, oh, do this. Or I'll come help you do this. But he didn't want anybody else to take the credit for me getting that car. Just like he didn't want anybody, he didn't want any of those men, like, oh, because we had 32,000 men. That's how come we defeated our enemy. You see what I mean? So that's why he reduced it down to 300 to show Gideon, look what I can do, mighty warrior. Look what I can do, mighty warrior. I can take 300 men and defeat thousands of men. And if you read more of the story, how it happened is they went into the camp and the Mennonites got confused and turned on each other and killed each other. By the strategy that God gave Gideon on how to take care of defeating them. Read the rest of the chapter. The Mennonites they were defeated by their own men. Because they got confused. They got confused. And I'll just condense it down. God told Gideon they had torches, they had jars, and at the same time, they all 300 men, smashed these jars, and it caused the Mennonites to get confused, and they turned on each other and killed each other. So the 300 men didn't even have that much to do. You know what I'm saying? See, that God is a strategist. He strategizes. He has a plan. Even though it looks like he doesn't, look like he ain't doing nothing. I'm preaching to myself. Things ain't moving the way I want them to move, or happen the way I want them to happen. You know what I'm saying? But he's a strategist. He's always working behind the scenes. And my mouth get to flapping, I be saying stuff, and then, oh God, I'm sorry. You know, because I want to be in his will, and I know that he has a plan, but he ain't moving fast enough. Am I the only one? I feel like, gosh, God, when? How long is the night?
You said.
Oh, you said, well, God, if you said it, why ain't you doing it? Oh, my goodness. Right? But he does. He has a plan. So to Gideon, it might have been like, oh, my goodness. 300 men, God, what are you thinking? All the Mennonites and the Amalekites and the termites and whatever ice they have. And you gonna take me from 32,000 men to 300? What are you thinking?
She was just joking. She wasn't trying to say termites.
What are you thinking, God? 300 men. For people who would just come and just wipe us out. Every time. Just take our livestock, just destroy us. And now you want me to take 300 men. But he had to trust God. Because God told him, you are a mighty warrior. You are a mighty warrior. And I'm with you. What is a warrior? Y'all look at this. A brave or experienced soldier or fighter. Warrior can mean anything from a person who is known for being involved in warfare to someone who fights in the battle and is known to have courage and skill. Even to someone who is engaged in some struggle or conflict. It's a brave or experienced soldier or fighter. And Gideon became a mighty warrior. The more he did what the Lord told him, his warrior was being released and growing. Right? First he went and tore down the altars. Now he went into battle with 300 men from 32,000. Now, in between this, like I said, they don't be saying what Gideon was saying, well, God, I don't know. But he could have just very well been arguing with God the whole time. But still went ahead and did what God told him to do. All we see is like it looked like he was just very cooperative. I know I ain't always cooperative. So that's what the definition of, I found on the internet, what a warrior is. It's a soldier, a fighter. They're experienced. They're brave. What makes you a warrior? The warrior continues to live by a code of honor, even when everyone around him is lying, cheating, and compromising their values to get ahead. Though you'll make many mistakes, a man of honor, a warrior, owns up to them. He stands while others fall. He fights while others flee. Right? When those 22,000 men flee, what if Gideon said, I'm going too? That's a lot of men. Mm-hmm. Wait a minute. Where y'all going? And they running like, I'm out of here, Gideon, because I'm scared. But God had already told Gideon he was what? A mighty
Warrior.
Wake up, y'all. A mighty warrior.
Mm-hmm.
What is a warrior personality? People with a warrior personality type are unique. They are offense-minded and street-smart. You got to be wise. Use wisdom. They are highly tactical and resourceful. Plus, they are quick to exploit an opportunity. Chaos does not frighten them, but they get impatient with boredom. So chaos does not frighten them. So Gideon could have been like, oh my gosh. But a warrior that he was like, okay, Lord. You know, there could have been one side that we don't know. He was just like, oh my gosh. And there'd be the other side, like what the Bible depicts is that, oh, okay, God. All right, 22,000 left. Okay, what do you want me to do next, God? Okay, all right, I'll get the 10,000 that's left. All right, y'all, let's go down to the water. You know, he's a mighty warrior. He's staying calm, even though it's looking chaotic, because he just let 22,000 men leave that was supposed to be in battle with him, y'all. Okay. What is a warrior mentality? Think like a warrior. A warrior is one who is engaged aggressively or energetically in an activity, cause, or conflict. An attitude is how a person views something or tends to behave toward it. Mindset comes from employing a fixed mentality attitude that predetermines your response to a given situation. That's how a warrior thinks. They're engaged. They're aggressive towards the situation. And it's how they look at it and how they respond to it. You know, a warrior will respond to it in a more wiser way or a tactical way. He's not just going to be like fly off the handle. We are mighty warriors. We have to learn to respond in a way that's not reactive. Seriously, because we react a lot. We do. And we quick mouth, quick reaction. Right? My mama had a quick mouth. Just like that, she come back at you with something. I said, oh, she did. But we quick to react. But how about we be slow to react and quick to just respond? There's a difference between responding and reacting. Because when you respond, you think about what you're gonna say. You don't just let something fly out your mouth. And the warrior is going to respond rather than react. And sometimes, I know sometimes it's easy just to react, but we want to learn to respond. That was my last slide. Let me put that one back up. About mighty warrior. And then we're going to go to Chronicles, then we're going to be done. But that's Gideon. That's Gideon, and God showed him how he could take 32,300 and defeat an army of enemies. These guys that were the enemy of the Israelites. So go to 1 Chronicles, the 12th chapter. 1 Chronicles, the 12th chapter.
I went right to it.
1 Chronicles, the 12th chapter. Everybody there? Getting
Amen.
there? Chronicles is after Judges. So that's 1 Samuel, 2 Samuel, 1 Kings, 2 Kings.
Ruth, all of that. Yep.
Yeah, and then 1 Chronicles.
First Chronicles. At the Kings.
Yep. Y'all, be a risk taker. That's what this is about today. Be a risk taker and step out and trust God. You know, trust God. Gideon fleeced God. He did. He needed his faith and strengthen a little. But, you know what, and that's okay. But still be a risk taker when God is telling you, okay, Sylvia, you do this. Okay, God, I don't know, I don't understand, but why are you taking it down $32,000 to $300? I don't know. But you did. I gotta believe you have a plan. Right? Mm-hmm. Could you imagine God taking $32,000 down to $300? We talking about, in the Bible, man, dollars. $32,300, and then he still provide and make provision and make a way.
That's
You hear
what
me?
he's doing.
Yeah?
That's what he's doing.
Uh-huh. Everybody there? 1 Chronicles 12. My title says Warriors Join David. Now here's another flip side of this. See, because God can be who he wants to be to us when he needs to be what he needs to be to us. Okay? Where he reduced Gideon's men down to 300. Look at this. Warriors join David. And it talks about these were the men who came to David at Ziklag while he was banished from the presence of Saul, son of Kish. They were among the warriors who helped him in battle. They were armed with bows and were able to shoot arrows to sling stones right or left-handed, right-handed or left-handed. They were kinsmen of Saul from the tribe of Benjamin. Ahazir, and y'all be patient with me as I try to pronounce these names. Ahazir, their chief, and Joash, the sons of Shema, the Gibeonites, Jeziel, and Pelet, the sons of Azmaveth, Baraka, Jehu, and Anna, whatever. And Ishmael, the Gibeonite, a mighty man among the 30, who was the leader of the 30. Jeremiah, Jehaziel, Johanan, Jazabad, the Gideonite, and all those other people you see in there. Okay? And some Gadites defected to David at his stronghold in the desert. So that means they joined David at his fortress. That's what the word stronghold means right there. He had a fortress. That's another word for stronghold. They were brave warriors, ready for battle, and able to handle the shield and the spear. They was able to handle the shield and the spear. Their faces were the faces of lions, and they were as swift as gazelles in the mountains. And I don't know, the thing about the faces was the faces of lions. I don't know, unless they were just looking like,
Yeah.
ha, ha, ha. So, brave warriors.
Look about right.
Alrighty, so they were swift as gazelles in the mountains. Ezer was the chief. Obadiah, the second in command. Eliab the third. Mismanah the fourth. Jeremiah the fifth. Attiah the sixth. Eliel the seventh. And Johanan the eighth. And Elzabad the ninth. Jeremiah the 10th and Macbaniah the 11th. These Gadites, if I'm saying that right, were army commanders. The least was a match for 100, and the greatest for 1,000. It was they who crossed the Jordan in the first month when it was overflowing all its banks. And they put to flight everyone living in the valleys to the east and to the west. Other Benjamites and other men from Judah also came to David in his stronghold. David went out to meet them and said to them, if you have come to me in peace to help me, I am ready to have you unite with me. But if you have come to betray me to my enemies, when my hands are free from violence, may the God of our fathers see it and judge you. And so and that says to me, we have to really, if somebody comes and they want to join in even here or in our lives, we have to be discerning and knowing whether or not that person is coming
Right.
to be a help to us
Or
or to
hinder.
hurt us or to
Right.
betray us.
Right.
That's a great example. He's like, hey, if you coming to hurt me, then you just stay right over there. Just,
Right.
I don't need you in my life,
Hallelujah.
you know? But if you coming to help me, then come on. And then it says, the Spirit came upon Amasiah, I don't even know if I pronounce it, chief of the 30. And he said, we are yours, O David. We are with you, O son of Jesse. And then he did a prophetic inspiration. It says, success to you, and success to those who help you, for your God will help you. I'm gonna write that one down.
Amen.
That's a write down for me for business. I'm telling you, if you got a business, take this and declare it over your business. Success to you, and success to those who help you, for your God will help you. I'm going to say it again, y'all. Success to you, and success to those who help you, for your God will help you. I have a business. My husband has a business.
Amen.
You have a business. You have a business. This is something to declare over our lives, over our homes, over our business. That is in 1 Chronicles
18.
12th chapter, verse 18. So David received them and made them leaders in his raiding bands. Okay? And then if we skip over to verse number in that same chapter, we're going to go to verse number 23. So you got to turn the page. And then it says, others joined David at Hebron. So he had more join him. And it says, everybody there says, these are the numbers of the men armed for battle who came to David at Hebron to turn Saul's kingdom over to him, as the Lord has said. Men of Judah carrying shield and spear, 6,800 armed for battle. Men of Simon, warriors ready for battle, 7,100. Men of Levi, 4,600, including Jehoiada, leader of the family of Aaron, with 3,700 men, and Zadok, a brave young warrior, with 22 officers from his family. Y'all read this with me now. Men of Benjamin, Saul's kinsmen, 3,000, most of whom had remained loyal to Saul's house until then. Men of Ephraim, brave warriors, famous in their own clansmen, 20,800. Men of half the tribe of Manasseh, designated by name to come and make David king, 18,000. Men of Issachar, who understood the times and knew what Israel should do, 400 chiefs with all their relatives under their command. Men of Zebulun, experienced soldiers prepared for battle and every type of weapon to help David with undivided loyalty, 50,000. Men of Naphtali, 1,000 officers, together with 37,000 men carrying shields and spears. 37,000 men carrying shields and spears. Okay, we're almost at the end there. Men of Dan, ready for battle, 28,600. Men of Asher, experienced soldiers, prepared for battle, 40,000. And from east of Jordan, men of Reuben, Gad, and the half tribe of Manasseh, armed with every type of weapon, every type of shield, everything, 120,000. All these were fighting men who volunteered to serve in the ranks. They came to Hebron fully determined to make David king over all Israel. All of the rest of the Israelites were also of one mind to make David king. The men spent 3 days there with David, eating and drinking, for their families had supplied provisions for them. Also, their neighbors from as far away as Issachar, Zebulun, and Naphtali came bringing food on donkeys, camels, mules, and oxen. There were plentiful supplies of flour, fig cakes, raisin cakes, wine, oil, cattle, and sheep, for there was joy in Israel. Do y'all know how many that totaled up to be?
I was trying to get it. I lost the track.
If you pull out your phone and add them up.
That was a lot.
If you pull out your phone and add it up. Anybody want to guess? Because I add it up. Come on, guess.
It's about 500,000.
Okay, 500,000. What's yours? No, you can't do it now. I'll cut you with this plastic sword. I'll cut your hand
I
off.
would say 300,000.
She said 300. Don't change it no more.
310.
310.
18.
18. Okay. Anybody else?
318,000.
Now I say 100.
345,000. 345,000. Mark? You have no idea? No.
You have to guess. Mark.
Come on, you can just guess.
I was sleeping. We'll make an educated sleeping guess. One.
Okay.
Okay.
Andrea,
Yes.
what's your number?
She was yawning.
400,000.
400,000. Okay. So we had 310, 380. Who had three what?
345.
345,
300,000.
300, 310,
Wait,
and 400. So the number is 340,822. So she was the closest.
Leah.
340,822 men joined his army.
Volunteer.
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 And did y'all see all those other little words that was in there that could speak to us?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know, the family helped them out. You know, what was the other words? You know, they were well, the volunteering, they volunteered, they were
Got
determined.
food, yeah.
They were fully determined to make David king. They had saw that God had wanted David to, so they were all on board. They were all of one mind. You hear me? All of one mind. They were soldiers, mighty warriors. But 340,822 mighty warriors joined David. So where God, on one hand, for Gideon, he needed to take the number down. Right? Because he had a different purpose and reason for Gideon. With David, he needed to bring the number. Look how far up he brought that number. Because that had a different purpose and reason. And so in our life, sometimes he's going to take it down. He's going to say, don't tell nobody. This is between you and me. And sometimes he's going to add people to help us. You know what I'm saying? So don't ever be like, oh, well, he did it like that for her or him. So why he ain't doing it like that for me? Because he does it differently. He has a strategy. He has a plan for all of us that's different. Now, sometimes there's some similarities. You hear me? Sometimes there is. But don't put God in a box and say, well, if he did it like that for them, he'll do it like that for me. No. Because look what he did with Gideon. But look what he did with David. People coming out of woodworks just, I want to join with you. I want to join with you. But they saw what God wanted to do and they got on board. You hear me what I'm saying? They got on board. So we are mighty warriors. Get out your sword and your shield and stand in faith and believe God. When he is saying, I have this for you. Mighty warrior, I want you to do this. I want you to step out and do this, mighty warrior. Mighty warrior, the Lord is with you. What is it? What position are you sitting in heavenly places, James Foster? And what is it in this earth that you need to be doing concerning the things of God? I say it again, it's coming up. If it's for you to start getting a group of men together and y'all having coffee and donuts, that's what you need to be doing. Because you have something to say. You have something to say. Every time you get up here and leave, take up the offering, you have something to say. So you have something to say, James Foster, to other men. So if that's what God is saying for you to get up and do, get up and do it. Mighty warrior. And when the enemy say, oh, you can't do that, that's goofy. Ain't nobody gonna come. Who gonna pay for it? You gonna pay for all the coffee and donuts? How you gonna do it? Where you gonna do it at? You pull out your shield and your sword and just cut his head off. Silence him.
Or your credit card.
Or your credit card.
But be encouraged that you are a mighty warrior.
You play too much.
You are a mighty.
Look how he looking at you. Look how he looking at you. I caught that.
You are a mighty warrior, and the Lord is with you. Whatever you do, wherever you go, He's always with us. He said He never leave us or forsake us. So I hope you've been encouraged today
Yes.
to stand as a mighty warrior
Yes.
in the face of whatever it is, and to be brave and say, okay, I don't know, it don't look, but you know what? God says I'm a mighty warrior.
Amen.
I'm gonna be a risk taker. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm gonna take the risk.
Amen.
I might be rejected, but I'm gonna take the risk.
Amen.
I might have to stand alone, but I'm gonna take the risk. You hear me? I might have to stand alone, but I'm gonna take the risk. I'm preaching to myself, y'all. You hear me? I'm preaching to myself. So, we're gonna close right now.
Thank you, Facebook.
And I want to thank all our Facebook watchers today. Thank you for joining us. And come back next week or join us here physically. We're here every Sunday right now at 11:30. But thank you for joining us. And I hope and pray that you got something that encouraged you today
Bring
to
out
be
that
the
mighty warrior.
as a mighty warrior. Amen. God bless.
Amen.